You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Battista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So, if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your, stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Check yourself with Dr.Abby Mecalf. How to be happy even if your partner won't do a thing. Ladies, oh my gosh. Well, first of all, anyone who calls themselves a maven at anything is my person. And so I brought here into our studio Abby Mecalf, who is a relationship maven. She's a psychologist. She's an author. She's a podcast host. She's a TEDx speaker. She's helped thousands, probably more than that if she has almost 3 million downloads of her podcast. People think differently so they can create connection, ease, and joy in their relationships, especially the one with yourself. She's got a unique background in business and counseling. She's direct, no nonsense, which I love. She's been doing this for 35 years. She's been a speaker at like Google and Apple and Kaiser and Chevron. She's been on TV, and she is the author of the #1 Amazon best-selling book called, and I love this title, Be Happily Married, Even If Your Partner Won't Do a Thing. And her podcast is called Relationships Made Easy, and it's now in over 170 countries. So I'm just happy that you're here. So super fun. So, okay. So first of all, and I just interviewed a doctor in Australia, and one of the conversations we had was, why can't your husband ever, a partner or man, find anything in the refrigerator or the cupboard? And I was like, well, first of all, you wrote a book about it, so it's not just me, which leads me to the same sort of thing. You wrote a book and you titled it, Without Your Husband Having to Do Anything. And I'm definitely not a man hater, but I get asked all the time, do men do programs like this? Why don't men do anything? So I must not feel like that, be the only one who sometimes feels like that. So where did the title even come from? Like, what was the genesis of this amazing book?
I will tell you this. And by the way, Gary, my husband, always says like, this isn't about me whenever we're out.
I love it.
So I was working with, I have a background in organizational psychology too, along with my counseling degree. And I was working with executives in trouble. And I didn't know, I was an executive coach, but I didn't understand that meant I couldn't also be counseling them.
Right.
Because I didn't know the difference. And I was working with them, of course, about business, but I was improving their personal lives without, because I was asking all these counseling kind of questions and working with them. And and it was mostly men, okay. Man after man came in and said, oh my God, my relationship with my wife is so much better. My relationship with my kids is so much better. Over and over. And I went, I've got something here. Like, what is this? What's happening? What magic sauce? Because I wasn't trying. I never met these wives. I never met these other people. I'm like, what am I doing? And I kind of codified it and put it in that book, and really it was the impetus to start the podcast, like everything. And because I found some sort of universal truths, shall we say. It was also the genesis of the TED Talk, The Real Reason Relationships Fail, which we can talk about today. Because same thing. And I realized that there was something special. And all my work with couples, I was having better success with couples working with an individual. And I thought, there's really something here. And anyway, and that was the genesis of the book.
I love that. Okay, so then let's talk about, why do relationships fail? Money, sex, parenting, right? Like, so many things happen after you're like, oh my God, you're so cute. We both like Thai food. Oh my God.
I like Thai food too.
Like, oh my God, So why do relationships fail? Because you like each other a lot at some point.
Well,
hopefully.
I always ask people, when people would come to me, I'd say, what's the #1 problem in your relationship? And 99.9% of the time they say communication, right? We don't communicate. We need to learn to communicate better. That's what everybody came with. And that's not the main issue. Okay. There's a cancer under that, which is why all the tools you learn, all the great tips you hear don't work. And that is that there's an underlying layer of competition. And competition is the real reason relationships fail. not communication, because we do this all the time. We say, well, I took Sophie to baseball practice on Tuesday, so you have to take Jack to piano on Friday. Or you went out with your friends on Saturday, so I get to go out with my friends on Sunday. You spent money on this, so now I get to spend money on this. We do all this tit for tat. We do all this keeping score, right?
Yeah.
And watching what our partners are doing, which is never as much as what we're doing. And this competition, it's a competition for resources, for time, for money, for things in the family, usually time a lot, especially with kids. There's this competition between us and our spouse or our partner for these resources. And if you're in competition with someone, you don't want them to win. You want to win.
That makes so much sense. Oh my God.
I know, it's like mind blowing, right? Hence a TED Talk, like, an original idea. And this is what I saw over and over, that people were consistently comparing, and women do more. We know this from the research. This isn't we know that that men live longer when they're married. We know that we take on an average of 7 hours more work a week when we're married.
I love it. No, I love it. That guy that I interviewed, the name of his book is 8 Reasons Why Women Are Superior to Men. He was like, I'm a dude, like I'm owning it, right?
And I'm like, there's only 8, please.
Right, exactly. So I have to ask you this because I'm like dying to know. So, because the thing is, like people who are listening to this podcast, whether they're single or they're in a relationship, most of them are very, like, I'm going to say competitive just because like they're high achievers, they're perfectionists, they're sort of overcoming whatever childhood shit that made them take on the role of like the winner, right? Winning means I'm enough. So do you feel like these kinds of alpha, type A, strong, independent women are more likely to have these sort of competitions in their marriage, or does it just happen to everyone?
It happens to everybody. It happened in the 1950s marriages. It happens now. It happens because, first of all, we're taught this. My other half, my better half, he completes me, which makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. People, we learn this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's so much part of our vernacular and our culture, and it's so wrong. You need to pull your weight. I want my partner to take things off my plate. You need to take this off my plate, right? It's the same plate.
Oh my God.
Your partner
can't. I'm guilty, guys.
I was too, please. Your partner can't take anything off your plate because it's the same plate.
It's the same plate.
You and your partner, and this is what I teach, are a shared resource. So when you're drained, your partner's drained because you're pulling from the resource of the couple. But the thing we think is that this competition, right? Well, you have to do what I'm doing. And by the way, people have different capacities, different abilities in a relationship, different things they bring to the relationship. And it doesn't always equal time-wise. And we tend to compare things time-wise. Like, you mow the lawn, but you only have to do that once a week for 2 hours. And I'm here every single day cooking and shopping and doing the things, right? And so, but it's not good to compare time-wise because that is really not what a relationship is about. When we're getting what we need, not what we want, right? We're getting what we need. We don't care that there's a sock on the floor. We don't care that all the whiskers weren't rinsed out of the sink. We don't. I know, because I've worked with thousands of people now, like really, private practice. So I'm with people. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to couples. I'm talking to individuals. So I just want to say that too. I think it sets me apart a little because I'm, the rest. And I will tell you that your real people are feeling these are having all these feelings. I just but so no one thinks I'm just pie in the sky here. So you've got to, if you're realizing that you're a shared battery, you are hoping for the win of your partner because it's going to bring more energy to the couple. So so recently I had a couple who said in the session he said, oh my gosh, I wanted to share it here. I got a big promotion and I'm the now regional whatever of Europe for his company. And her immediate reaction was, great, now you'll be in Europe having amazing dinners and I'll be stuck home taking care of the kids and working. That's the immediate reaction, right? And I get it. I kind of get it, because that's how it feels. It's like you're getting this thing, again, it's keeping score, and I'm getting less. That's how we see it when our partner when you get to go out, yeah, but who was home doing this, or I had to pick up the slack. Again, but really what's happening is that it's something that's coming in abundance in any way that's coming in, we can, right, do together.
Yeah.
So the secret.
Yeah. What's the secret?
The secret is two things. It's a minus or a plus. When that happens, you have to think, okay, this big thing is happening. What do we have to add from outside the couple? What resource? We always look to our partner. You have to pick up your slack, pull your weight.
Right.
Instead of that, instead of the wife being in this situation, being home and doing everything she was normally doing and taking care of, and taking on his, right? No. We either add resources from outside the couple. You hire up to drive the kids. You spend money. You do whatever you have to do. You get the cleaning person in 3 times that week instead of every other week. You ask your mother-in-law to come in and help, or you bring in resources. You don't look to your partner to do it. And you don't think you have to take on more.
Okay.
And simultaneously think about, well, he's going to be gone for 2 weeks. What do we have to take off the plate? Like maybe the kids don't go to soccer practice for one of those 2 weeks, or maybe we cancel piano lessons. What doesn't have to happen during this time?
And that both people are saying this is a shared problem. It's not her problem.
It's not her problem, and it's not his problem. And because what usually happens, now I'm exhausted because I've been home taking care of the kids, working full time, doing all this extra stuff that you were doing. You come home, and I've been the person who was traveling and came home because I used to have that kind of corporate job. And I was exhausted. I know it sounds very glamorous. You're flying and yes, it's true. It's a little easier, but it's a lot of work when you're working away because you're expected to work like 24/7. I would come home exhausted, and then he's exhausted. Like, here's the kids,
right.
Yep. And it's like, I am so tired right now. I don't even want to talk to my kids.
Right.
I say with love. And so, but if he is now, because he's maybe even had some more free time, or, whoever's home.
Yeah.
Add more room. Let's even have extra. Let's add a massage. Let's add getting our nails done. Let's add, instead of thinking I'm going to have less, I'm actually going to really pamper myself while you're gone. So I'm really ready when you come home to not, I'm not drained. So one of us isn't drained. And then I'm going to give you a day to come back to the family and coop. And then we're going to talk about, maybe we even leave because you're still drained. Maybe we even leave these extra resources for another week. Whatever. And even if you don't have money, you can barter with someone,
Right.
For kids in 2 weeks. You watch them now. There's ways to barter. I've done it. But whatever that is, do you see where I'm going?
Yes, totally.
You're really looking at at two of you. Everything is a we problem. Nothing is a you. Nothing is, well, that's on you. Nothing is like that. Everything's a we. Let's even say he made a commitment to put away the dishes every night, so that when you come, I get this a lot with couples, right? The woman usually comes down in the morning first, is cooking breakfast, is getting the kids, and wants a clean space to land, right?
Yes.
I get it. That's great. But he forgets to put away the dishes at night sometimes, maybe not every night, but maybe once a week or so, he forgets.
Yeah.
Does a crappy job. And then she's furious, right?
Yeah.
We're furious because I'm coming down and you leave a mess. And then I come and yell at you and, it's a mess.
Right.
And instead I say, well, again, approach it as a we. Okay, listen, we've talked about the mornings a lot. And you didn't put away the dishes last night. And he's going to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I got caught. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, no. We don't need to apologize. We don't let it go there anymore.
Right.
Okay? This strategy we have isn't working well, not consistent.
Right.
What do we have to put in place? Maybe I have a couple who hired someone to come in at night and clean the kitchen and put away the dishes and get the kitchen ready for the next day.
Damn.
Isn't that brilliant? I was like, oh my God, that's so smart. I know, and it's not, again, I see money and not everybody has money. It does, again, think outside the box. Think about what you can do. Maybe at night, I don't know, only order in. I don't know, throw everything away.
Right, use paper plates, right?
Right.
Environment, yeah.
I guess it's not good for the environment, but, our divorce isn't good for the environment either. What can we problem solve together to solve this issue? So it's not, you don't love me, you don't appreciate me.
Right. You're making it not personal. You're making it like a shared logistics problem. Okay, so I want to ask you this, because we have a lot of ladies who end up not wanting to date or getting into relationships where they're the breadwinner, right? And so, because you were saying it's time and money.
Yep.
I was wondering, so when it's something like a finite resource, that like money, I would assume that it can make it more of a potent problem if someone is not working or not earning as much, or there's that contribution financially. I mean, I can think of a lot of couples too that are even like retired, right? Or like older, that are getting together and they're like, well, I have money and he doesn't have money, or I have money and she doesn't have money. What do you do in that situation? How do you have those we combos?
Money, to me, it's so interesting that you want to share a life with someone, but not your money. I don't even know what that means, actually. And I get it. Like, maybe you're 60 and you're with somebody and you've had all these things and you don't. But then I would say that then don't date that person. Like, then that's not your person. Like, if that's important enough to you more than anything. But I will say this.
Yes.
When we make a list of the qualities we want in our kind of perfect person,
right,
rarely is money on there. It sometimes is, that they can support themselves. It sometimes is. But I will tell you, it's never the top 5. Does he cherish me? Do I feel appreciated? Do I feel valued for what I bring to the table? When women, especially, I'll speak to us women, when we feel valued, we will give anything. It's the thing that women don't want to get in relationships anymore and take care of men, because and money becomes that thing, because we don't want to, we already have money. We're fine. You have to have a value add or I don't want you in. And I think people are focusing on the wrong thing. It's not the money. If you felt this way, you would feel different about the money. Because think about it. You'll spend money on a vacation because of how it makes you feel. You'll think of your partner as a luxury item. You'll spend it on an expensive car.
That's so funny.
It's like,
so when you say value add, because I work with a lot of people who are like divorced once or twice. And so by the time they're in their 50s or 60s or even late 40s, they're like, well, I don't want to share all my money because that feels weird, right? Like, I had this before, my life with you. So but I love this thing about like, well, what's the value add? So how do you solve regular problems around that? Like, what does that look like then? So in an ideal situation, I'll ask it better. Like, that person feels valued, then what does it look like so that the money issue doesn't show up?
Did I ask that right?
Yeah.
Okay. It depends on the person, right? It's I'm going to plug it in my latest book, Boundaries Made Easy.
Yeah, we got to talk about boundaries. We got to talk about boundaries too. Okay.
It's all good. I talk about these boundaries, like how you create a boundary is by knowing first what your deal breakers are. What are the things you have to have no matter what?
Yeah.
Then from that, you create your standards, okay, which are what you need, not what you want. People tend to focus on what they want when they're not getting what they need.
Yes.
That's what I have found, right?
Yeah.
I want you to leave the toilet seat in the right space because, but I'm not feeling cherished and appreciated.
Right.
That's the problem. But we're focusing on a toilet or, jam on the counter or some other BS when you should focus on this, right?
Yeah.
We're assigning meaning to the fact that you didn't wipe the counter down. We're deciding that means you don't appreciate us when, trust me, no man I've ever met wants to piss off the woman he's with. I'll tell you.
No, they don't.
No, they're trying so hard to please us.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah.
So you have to stop and go, what is my boundary? Like, you need to know what is and I do outline that in the book. How to figure that out, how to ask those right questions. Like, what do I need to know? If I have my list, when I think of my man, Gary, who's, by the way, very shy, so no one tell him we're talking about him. So when I think of Gary, nothing on my list said has to have a certain amount. I can make money. Like, I'm fine. Right. I make, what I had on there was to feel, that we could solve problems together.
Yeah.
He had a team approach. My biggie is to always know he has my back.
Right.
I want to know, I don't care if when he disagrees with me in public, no one knows. He'll come to me later and say something.
Right. Yeah.
But never in front of the kids or in front of people, ever.
Yeah,
that man. And he knows how important that is.
Yeah.
because I feel that way, I could care less about the money or where it's going. And we're older, and we met a little older. We both had things, I'm almost 60, like there was already a lot of things, and we had marriages,
Yeah.
And I didn't care at all. And I'll say that even with my ex, I didn't care about any of that because I felt there were certain things I felt that I needed. And that's the thing to remember. And so you don't care as much when the cup is left on the counter or when the thing, because you don't take it as, oh, he doesn't appreciate me. You take it as
making you feel appreciated.
exactly because he's doing these other things in a real way. Cups on the counter aren't how you feel appreciated.
No.
How you feel appreciated is your partner coming in and saying, oh my gosh, I just realized how much you did today. Like, you just told me your day. That was huge. And then you cooked dinner for us. Like, thank you. Thank you.
I love that.
That's amazing, right?
So amazing.
I don't care about a cup after that. I don't care about a sock
true.
But what happens is we bitch and moan about the sock and the cup because we're not getting the other thing. So focus on the other thing. But you just have to know what your thing is. Some people, it's like fairness. It has to feel fair and equal.
Right.
But you have to decide, what does fair mean? Because people will say, well, it's not fair. You're not bringing as much money. What is that? No. Like, it's somewhere else. It's somewhere else. So figure that out, because it's not the money.
So if it were fair and it weren't about, just so people can be like, well, what else could it be? So you're talking, so if someone has a fair, so you're saying it could be valued or appreciated. It could feel fair.
Yep.
Like, so what's an example of like a healthy fair?
And healthy fair might be that when I make more than Gary, when I come home, that he's already like taken out the garbage, like he's done things. I don't have to babysit him.
Right.
I think that he's helping me in the house. He's not helping me. He's helping.
Right. Because it's the same plate.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same plate. So he's thinking, oh, there's one less thing to do. And if anything, one of my favorite things he ever said to me was, I used to always put away the dishes in the morning. That was my job, and I would do it.
Yeah.
And I came home, and all of a sudden the dishes were always put away. And he gets home for me, and I was like, I said, I don't even put away dishes. Thank you. That's so nice. And he said, I just realized it's like nothing for me to do, and you'll be happier when you come home and it's already done.
Oh, well, Gary.
Gary's the best. I'm
Love
just
it.
saying, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I
Nourishing
totally.
me. That's thinking of me first. And I will say this: trust is built on 3 things, and people get this wrong too, like a lot. And it's all about trust, right? We have to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Trust is 3 things. It is made up, and this is from the research, not like something I made up.
Right.
It's integrity. So the honesty part,
Yeah.
they're honest about things. They say what they're really feeling.
Yeah.
You don't ask how you're feeling and they go fine and it's not. Like, they tell you.
Yeah.
So honesty, integrity, we say. It's made up of competence is the second piece, which means like you show up when you say you will. You follow through when you say you're going to do something, right? That's competence. I
love that.
Competent. And then the third piece is goodwill. I believe you have my best interests at heart when you're making choices.
Mm.
And so what happens with couples is they'll say, oh, I trust my partner. Like, they'll believe they won't cheat, let's say, but they don't really trust them because they don't have their best interests at heart, or they're not competent. They don't follow through, or they really have their best interests. They're always saying great things, but they don't follow through on crap. And it's like, you're just talking. When people understand what really, I call it the trust triad, what really makes them trust, it's so great because you can, number one, zero in on maybe just one of the pieces. Trust is not a blanket thing. There's a continuum there. Right?
Yeah.
And so you can really zero in, but I want everyone listening to really think about, what don't I trust about this person that I care about money? Like, what is that? Because there's something, and that you should be focused on.
I love this. Is so good. So good. Okay, let's talk about boundaries now. Boundaries, the other biggie. I feel, so I've been talking to a lot of ladies, whether it's dating or just work boundaries or making time for themselves, that there's this idea that if I set a boundary, whether it's with my time, my energy, whatever it is, that I'm saying I'm more important than you. And I've been talking about, it doesn't mean you're more important. It means you're as important, because all couples have competing needs. All coworkers have competing needs. And people are like, what? Like, that's selfish. That's blah, blah, blah. So can you debunk some of this stuff around boundaries?
Well, let me just say first, a lot of people think they're making boundaries and they're not. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. But,
Okay, cool.
but I have a whole chapter in the book called Healthy Selfishness. We actually have research.
Love that.
There's actually research on it. And I think I did a podcast episode if anyone wants to. In fact, I'm sure I did. I'm not making that. I did a podcast episode. So if anyone does just a Google search, or I can send you the link for that.
Yeah, we can put it in the show notes. But
Yeah.
now this book we're talking about, for those of you who are taking notes, because I know some of you do, this is the other book called Boundaries Made Easy.
Boundaries Made
Connection. Yeah. So we got Get Your Husband to Do Shit. That's not what it's really called. And now we've got Boundaries Made Easy. Okay, so let's talk about
Your roadmap to connection, ease, and joy, because that's what it is.
Love it. Okay.
Right. So, but people get back. Let me just start there.
Yeah.
People think they say to someone, I don't like when you talk to me that way. I'm drawing a boundary. I don't like when you talk to me that way. That's not a boundary. That's something you like. That's something you're asking. That's how you feel. I feel upset when you talk to me that way. That's your feeling.
Yeah.
A boundary has to have teeth. Let me just say, like, it has to have something on the other side that you're going to do if the boundary is in any way, what we say, like if someone's not respecting the boundary.
Yeah, they're flexing over it.
They're flexing over your boundary. So that could be, I had a wonderful client who her family always talks about her weight. She's had a lot of weight to lose and she's lost a lot, but she still has, and they love to talk about what she's eating and what she's not eating and her body. And you know what I mean? This is one of those families. And so she sent a wonderful email to everyone right before the holidays to her family, saying, listen, I'm really excited about my weight loss too, my journey. But it's really becoming disrespectful to only talk. I have so much going on in my life that I want to talk about. And it's, she said, so if you mention my weight or my food or how much I'm eating or what I'm eating or asking about diet, I'm going to end up leaving and we'll try to get another time. And it was such a good email. And anyway, so she gets her. And of course, her brother can't help himself and says something, even though, she's been really clear.
Right.
And what I say to people is never repeat your boundary.
Love that.
So her brother said something and she said, I've asked you not to talk about that. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I forgot you're so sensitive about it. And she said, yeah, I get it. We're just going to have to try another time. And she left, not with F you and
Right.
Okay, boundaries are love. They're meant to keep people in. Walls are meant to keep people out.
Love it.
So when you're drawing a boundary, it's because you're trying to include people in a way that works for you. And
Love that.
it's true though, right? And a wall, when we're like, no, you're a hard no, that's when we're keeping people out. And what happens is people mistake. So I talk about boundaries on a continuum of thin to thin. And here's the deal. Your boundary should never change depending on how someone else acts.
Okay, talk about that more. Yeah.
Here's what people do. So I tell my mother, I can't come over anymore on Sundays. We've got 2 kids. It's too much. It's crazy, to come there for dinner on Sundays. We're not going to do that anymore. And your mother goes, okay, probably pushes back a little, but you hold that boundary, right? You're doing it. You're doing such a good job. But now your mom's being really nice about it. And one day she's like, oh, maybe just this one Sunday, I really miss you guys. Can't, just come this Sunday. Like it's, I've tried to be really respectful. And so she's being nice.
Right.
So you go too thin on the boundary continuum of thin to thick. You go too thin and you go, oh, she's being so nice, right? Let me go over on Sunday.
Okay, what if you want to go over on Sunday? Because you miss your mom. You can't?
Yeah, if you don't, pick another day.
Okay. Another day. Okay, go on Friday. Okay, I love it.
Hey, you picked Sunday for a reason. Try to remember why.
Yes.
So hard to get home at night and get the kids.
Yeah.
So hard to get ready for work the next day, or you really need Sunday.
Yeah. Got it. I love it.
The boundary, right? But we don't respect our own boundary. They're being nice, so we collapse our boundary. It becomes too thin. And then we go over and our mother goes, oh, you should come over next week too. Remember how much fun this was? I don't know why we're not doing this anymore. And you get so mad. You're like, oh, or she doesn't say, thank you. That was a lot, I know, to come on Sunday. I really appreciate, right? We don't get enough appreciation for crossing the boundary. People aren't excited that we did it.
Right.
And then we get pissed. Damn my mother. And we throw our boundary to the other side of too thick and we slam the door. We unfollow our best friend. I'm never speaking to you again. I'm never coming over again. We get mad. And that's the problem. your job is, your boundary should not change because someone is mean to you. It shouldn't change because someone's mean to you either. You're not going to suddenly become crazy because someone's
Right.
Keep your boundary. Oh, when you act that way, I do X, and you leave or do it or hang up the phone, whatever you usually do. And if they're too nice, you don't collapse your boundary to be nice. It's not, because here's the real thing, right? When you're nice and don't have a boundary, like you're talking about, it's selfish to have a boundary.
Right.
You then talk crap about the person later. Oh, my mother drives me crazy. She's always expecting
Right.
appreciates it. Is that
so much? I love it. No, I love this. So good.
How on earth is that creating a more connected, joyful relationship with your mother? So if that's your goal, to be close to your mom and to really have a great relationship, then you better be a little selfish or you're being mean to her.
Right, because then you just end up getting resentful.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go, because I can talk to you for literal
I understand. Me too.
talk about, let's do a plug for healthy selfishness. Like, why is it a thing? What is it? Like, why do we need to do it? How can we unbrainwash ourselves?
Oh,
I was called selfish as a child, and so I have a really hard time with taking care of myself. I'm being me or whatever it is.
Yep. Well, it's true. Number one, just remember, like everything I just said, and what I just said kind of disproves it. What's so interesting is that the person who's asking is being selfish by asking. And somehow why is it any different that your mother or your friend or your coworker is asking you to do this thing? Why is that not selfish? Why aren't they taking care of it themselves? Why aren't they calling why isn't your mother calling your sister, who doesn't even have kids, to come over and help? Like, why isn't that selfish? That's what I tell my clients all the time when they're asking. I'm like, and they're like, oh yeah.
So then what is selfish? So what's regular selfish? How do you know the
Regular
difference?
selfish is kind of that. Like, I'm not thinking of you. I'm thinking of me only. Not first, only. I'm thinking about I want, and what I want trumps what you want. Like, and I'm going to rationalize that and think about all the reasons why. And think about that. So you say, I'd like you to come over on Sunday to help, for dinner because I love you and I need you here. And you say to your mom, it's really hard on Sundays. I want to get up for work the next day. Coming in late on Sundays is really hard. The kids are grouchy, whatever you say, right?
Right.
The only response that wouldn't be selfish is, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was so hard for you on Sundays. I feel terrible for asking now.
Right.
Exactly. But I miss you and I want to see you. Is there something else that would work for you? You're the one who's busier now. You have the kids. Like, I
love that.
That's an unselfish response, is to listen and hear what you've said, hear your needs, and respond in kind and say what's real. I miss you. That is it. And that's, by the way, what you can say to your mom is, I know you love me and I love you too. And I get that Sundays are important to you and they're important to me. My issue is that I'm really draining myself and I end up feeling just drained and actually a little upset that I'm coming.
Right.
I only want to have love with you. I love you.
I would love, like, if I heard that, I'd be like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. Like, let's pick another
day.
So it's like having a grown-ass conversation.
It's having a grown-ass conversation.
I love that. Okay. Well, y'all better plan some reading time or listening time for these two books.
They're audibles also, yes.
I love it. Boundaries Made Easy. And the other one is Be Happily Married, even if your partner won't do a thing. And you definitely want to listen to the Relationships Made Easy podcast. Everything is in the show notes. I mean, oh my gosh. This is like, the name of the podcast is Life Check Yourself. And I'm always like, for you to re-listen to this shit, take some notes. Like, you got to some checking to do. For me, I'm like, check. I'm going to be life checking myself. Thank you so much for being here. So much great wisdom and knowledge. And I'm just honored. I'm honored that you wanted to be on our show.
We really did. We love you.
Yeah. I love you now too. So there you go. Make sure that you give a follow. We're on Instagram, Marni Battista _. You can find me on old-fashioned Facebook with the rest of the old people. You can friend request me there, datingwithdignity.com. Whatever you do, life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Battista, and let's talk soon.